This is a new day. This is a new day full of sound, nice humid light, and expectation. This day has been waiting for you. It's been waiting especially for you, to embrace you, to guide you all the way through. This day has been waiting with open arms, just for you. This is the day we have been given. Make sure to grab your fans. Let's not waste it. Come now, and let us worship together. Please rise and body your spirit for our first hymn. It's in the nice teal-colored one. It's one of my favorites, and it's actually one of the favorite hymns of Marceline Hawk-Mayhall, who is our pianist. Rising Green, 1068. 1068.
My
morning, everyone. How are you doing? Good, good. You're surviving the heat okay? More or less? We actually do have fans, thanks to Mary Beth. So if you want to grab one, feel free to. Let's see, we have a few announcements today. We're going to have a centennial celebration. So the building that you're in, I think it includes this part of the building, but definitely the sanctuary was built in 1925. So we're celebrating the 100th year this year, 2025. We're planning a big celebration in the fall, and we're looking for your input. So we're going to have a meeting right around the corner in Schweitzer Lounge at 12:30 p.m. after service. All of you are welcome to join in. It's going to be drinks, food, learning about the history of music in this church. This has been a very important part of the North Side for 100 years. And it actually was built the same year as Stambaugh Auditorium, which I find very interesting. I don't know if there's a connection, but they're both built in 1925 simultaneously at the same time. Fascinating, right? So join us for that. Let's see, this coming Saturday, August 2nd, we're going to be celebrating the life of Marcia Malmer, beloved member of this church. So if you can join us for that, it's going to be this coming Saturday, August 2nd at 1 p.m. And then if you're interested in learning about our church, Karen Lapidus is here, who's our new member coordinator. We find it's very casual. So if you're interested to learn about us, we want to learn about you. And we're going to have an opportunity to learn about joining the church next Sunday at 12:15 p.m., also in Schweitzer Lounge. So you can join us for that. But even if you just are curious and want to ask questions and learn about us, we want to learn about you too. So join us for that. I now would love to invite Tracy McQuillan for our chalice lighting.
Good morning. Reverend Joseph asked me to speak on the eco-village, the nascent eco-village that is being formed here on the north side by Pat Rosenthal and Jim Converse. As of right now, I'm the first resident of it and also the community organizer. Eco-villages are a lot like our church in that they're people living together with the same kind of mindset about the environment and sustainability and reducing consumption. So it's maybe less people in the eco-village than we have in our church, but it's the same kind of vibe. So the eco-village is going to be on Elm and Baldwin. If you know the north side, it's just above. There's the kitchen incubator there, and then there's Dahlia's Caribbean Kitchen, and there's also the Climate Change Action Center run by Matt Woods, who does an excellent job with the garden there. So if you have any questions afterwards, feel free to hit me up. And we light this chalice today to unity in our community.
Now's the time we say hello. Greet your neighbor, especially with someone that you don't know. It's nice to, yeah. As you see, we're a very warm congregation and very lively. So, yeah, for those who are new with us this morning, welcome. We're very casual down here in the summertime. We have coffee and a wonderful spread. Whoever did hospitality this morning, thank you. The fruit and everything looks so beautiful with the flowers. Looks really nice. What we do in this congregation, for those who are new, is we tend to recite the covenant together, which is in your order of service. You're welcome to join me in reciting. If you're new, you can just kind of listen and let it wash over you and see how it feels. We tend to like it as a guide. So I don't really feel like starting. So someone want to start us off, and then I'll join in? Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. We now have a special guest. I saw I psyched you out earlier, Leandra, with a... we have a wonderful guest, Leander, who's going to speak to us about our offertory this morning. So I'm really glad that they could be with us.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Hi. My name's Leandra. It's been a long time since I've been in a service on a Sunday morning. I grew up in a Pentecostal church, so So my name's Leandra. I use they, them pronouns. I identify as a lesbian and genderqueer. I am the Mahoning Valley organizer for Equality Ohio, and I am also a board member of PFLAG, a part of the Youngstown Action Center, and the Trans Liberation Front of Northeast Ohio. I'm here to talk about today a little bit about our community health needs assessment for the LGBTQ+ community in the greater Mahoning Valley. So the assessment has been done before in Cleveland and in Akron, but it is the first of its kind of assessment in this area, meant to understand the needs of the LGBTQ+ community, because we're often disproportionately affected by a range of physical, mental, and behavioral issues. The survey is pretty comprehensive. It's over 100 questions. I think that we are at, it's 118, over the realms of health and wellness, education and literacy, housing, food and basic needs, business, employment, and commerce, safety and law enforcement, and recreation and leisure. And so over each of those domains of health. Before the survey was announced, or before the survey was published, the assessment was published, we spent about 8 weeks in committee meetings over each of those sections to make sure that the survey questions were accessible, that they made sense for this area, if there was anything we wanted to add, more community specific. And so I know there are a few people I can see in the room that were in some of those committee meetings. And so I thank you for doing that and helping with the project. The survey also covers specific questions to the community. For example, if anyone remembers the East Palestine train derailment that happened in 2023, we added a few questions about that to gauge how the queer community was impacted by that. Because in case you didn't know, people living in East Palestine, a lot of them still fear about like clean water and things like that. And many people have still not received their settlement money from the disaster, and there are a lot of people struggling with that. And so questions specific to our community covered in the survey. The purpose is the hope that we can use this information to provide data to advocates and decision makers. So an example, one of my coworkers, Madeline, she is the Cleveland organizer. So I'm the organizer of the Greater Mahoning Valley, which covers like Ashtabula, Columbiana, Mahoning, Trumbull, and she covers like the Cleveland areas. She was able to use the data from the Cleveland survey to help with a conversion therapy ban in one of the counties that she's working in. And so being able to use that kind of data here as well. And then also for nonprofits and for grant-making orgs to better direct funds to where the queer community actually needs it. So I also have these fans on the table with the website to the survey. So if you are an ally or if you are part of the community, I ask that you please take the assessment. It is at lgbtqohio.org, and there you can also sign up for a listening session. The first one we have, I believe, is on August 10th for older adults in the community, and there are about 12 focus groups. The survey goes until the end of the year, and any money or donations going to the project helps with the hundreds of events that I have to go to, which I'm happy to do, through the end of the year, and with like promotional materials and things like that. We're hoping to have 700 responses. We tabled at 5 prides this summer, and I checked this morning, and we are at 103 so far. So hoping to bump that up, and by the end of the year have 700. So yeah, so that is a pretty general view of the project. Thank you for inviting me here to speak about it. I will be here the rest of the service, and I'll be here after. So if you have any questions or want to talk about things related to the project or related to Equality Ohio and want to learn more about that, just let me know. Okay, thank you.
Oh, good. Yeah, thank you, Leandra. That was great. We'll now receive the offering that supports the life of Youngstown, the Mahoning Valley, and our wider world.
This is Sonnet 18 by William Shakespeare. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. Nor shall death brag thou wanderst in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
Join me in a meditation, please. That was a psych bell, not the real one.
This is Sabbath Poem 2 by Wendell Berry. The best reward in going to the woods is being lost to other people, and lost sometimes to myself. I'm at the end of no bespeaking wire to spoil my goods. I send no letter back I do not bring. Whoever wants me now must hunt me down like something wild, and wild is anything beyond the reach of purpose not its own. Wild is anything that's not at home in something else's place. This good white oak is not an orchard tree, is unbespoke, and it can live here by its will alone. Lost to all other wills but heaven's. Wild. So, where I'm most found, I'm lost to you, presuming friend, and can only be called or answered by a certain one or two.
The summertime, I think, is one of my favorite seasons to get lost in. Maybe it's the warmth and sunshine, but there's something endlessly supportive about summertime. The days seem long, and memories linger, and with humidity, I find it captures time in this lovely way. The day exists hours before, and it is still somehow here. As darkness begins and the fireflies come out to explore. The flowers are bursting with life, and I find myself less tentative. There's a natural drive and passion that feels animal, and it's nice to feel part of that and write it. I feel so fortunate to be able to live here. Jennifer swears I've become more acclimated to heat since moving here. I just pretend in my mind sometimes that I'm in a sauna, and it doesn't bother me. But there's a lot that bothers many people, heat being only one of them. There's a lot to be bothered by. And if you find yourself lacking in the bothering department, we can go upstairs right now, or if you have a phone in your pocket, I can give you a list of things to be bothered about if you're lacking. And being bothered, I think, is a really good thing sometimes. It's good to be bothered. It means we're participating in life. And we know things could be better for other people. In just about every spiritual tradition, bother is the beginning of the journey. It's where we become curious about what's out there and what's in here, inside the heart and inside the world. It's when we get a sneak peek into wonder and possibility. It's when a movement toward the unknown can start to become appealing, even though it might be intimidating at first. I'm on my own journey with this, as I think all of us are, even if we don't recognize it. And I have some intentions for how I'd like to be during this time. And I'm curious if they might resonate with you. Or, and this is equally good, as always, to give you something to bump off of if you discern this is definitely not the journey for me. So one of my intentions is to stay engaged. And for me, that means to listen and even be bothered. I think that's a given in a community like this. I think it's part of the culture and ethos of this place to not turn away from suffering. That's the first intention. The second intention is related to the first, but it has taken me a long time to get to. My second intention is I would like to offer an alternative. And I mean that on every level. In body, mind, thought, and action. I would like to offer an alternative to constant bother and suffering, if I can. Sometimes I don't know what that is. Actually, most of the time. And I'm willing to not know and stay open that some alternative might occur or even be presented to me by another person or another situation, like Leandra, perfect example. Befriending the unknown means I can trust what I don't know more than what I know, which is a huge cultural shift in Western culture, including churches like this. I'm not sure if it's right, but it's what I find myself being more drawn to. And I see lots of possibilities. I had fun this last Easter, reflecting on the story of Jesus again, with a new perspective. I saw one of the things he was offering, which never occurred to me, was a way to enjoy life under a time of political occupation. And this enjoyment was very deep, not shallow or skirting difficulty, but engaging differently than what was being taught around him. He showed it was possible to enjoy meals together. It was possible to be content with simple things, to have our own relationship to what we hold sacred, and to challenge authority by offering healing to those who were cast aside as lost causes. This offered a more humane approach to life. And I think in our own way, we're discovering our own humane approach to life. At least I'm hoping. We're trying to find that. Being bothered all the time without being open to an alternative or possibility seems to be a limited road to me. Trying to avoid difficulty is another kind of limitation, another kind of prison. So it might be good to ponder a way, a path that is more unlimited, one where we can't see the end, and we may not even be able to see the beginning, but one that we're on, that we can live with a full heart with others. I think discovering this may be more possible now than ever, at least during my relatively short lifetime. I'm approaching 40, so not that short. But I think it's more possible now. I talk to your average person, not just members of the congregation, just your average person, and people are curious. People are hungering for an alternative. Questions about how to live our life in ways that are fruitful, joyful, and lead to a culture that is more generous and humane. The minister's study is right upstairs, a little to the left over there. I call it the minister's study, not my study, because I've only been here for a few years compared to 150 years of ministers who have occupied that same space. One of the most common comments I receive when people enter the office is, "Look at that light." There are windows facing this direction. Look at the great light in this room. And I usually remark in gratitude that this was set up for us intentionally. An architect had the foresight to know that the sun would be pointing in this direction, and if one placed an office with windows in the right spot, that light would come through day after day, year after year, for now more than 150 years. It was just given to us. I think our own faith ancestors, our own family members sometimes, architects, have left us ways to experience light. Day after day, year after year, in all different moods, all different seasons. I've come to rely on that. When a breeze comes through, we have windows in the right spot so we can open them and we can experience it. And Joreen, you can thank me later. This was not my intention, but I guess this is a good plug for the centennial celebration in the fall, where we celebrate the 100th anniversary of this building. Built in 1925, having no idea what kind of situations people would be experiencing in 2025, but creating a space for light and air that might be accessible to all of us. Sanctuary, a space to be, reflect, feel, think about our lives with a new mind. They are helping us find our way through, even though we had no idea who they were or who we are. Some things remain remarkably constant. I've developed a love-hate relationship with cutting the grass. I'm grateful in the summer. It doesn't grow as fast. I've made a connection recently between lawn mowing and my relationship to haircuts. I really don't like having to go in regularly for a haircut. It's why sometimes I'll just let it grow. I find it too fussy to have to maintain. Lawn mowing is more physical, and I get to move and not have to sit in a chair for 30 to 45 minutes. So I like it much more. There's something satisfying about the ritual of mowing, admiring a job well done, or in my case, at least complete, having a beer. I can more or less get into it now. And if we ever develop the patience to plant wildflowers in our yard, I'll welcome that even more. I'll also say, I'm a big fan of things that require little upkeep. I lean more towards the wild and the ruly. Partly because it's easier, and I find it satisfying to see what happens when you leave things alone for a while. A new character usually begins to emerge, whereas when you're constantly pruning, you can only shape according to your own expectations. There isn't much room for surprise or discovery. This all could be a very flimsy case for laziness, but I don't think so. I like things that work and last, and wildness lasts. I'm like this with material goods too. I'd rather buy something once that I know will last if I take care of it, rather than having to replace it every single year. I find it simpler. I say all this to give you insight into why I've been drawn to a path that is wild, straightforward, and doesn't require a hell of a lot of effort. Or maybe more accurately, a different kind of effort. The effort of staying curious about what else there is. What else is going on here? But it has not required a lot of self-improvement or change, though I think change happens. There's an old saying, I don't know if you've heard it, that you can spend your life trying to pave a rough path, or you can wear shoes. You can spend your whole life trying to pave a rough path, or you can wear shoes. I think at this church we do both, actually. We're willing to try on shoes and see what fits. Ooh, that pinches. That's a bit roomy. And we do pave, in a way, as we go, if we can, so that others behind us might have a smoother time. Or, if we can't do anything about the road to smooth it out, at least they have a friend to be with. I've started to make more friends recently. I've looked around and noticed that unless middle-aged men get hobbies or a variety of friends, they get really strange. And I could just lean into that, but I'm deciding not to. Making friends as an adult is a really different experience, I'm finding. I've tried to not just have colleagues or people who are acquaintances. And a member of this church gave me great advice, which I've tried to practice. He said, if you want good friends, be a good friend to others. So simple. That's an example of a way through. Finding our way through in a different kind of way. I'm really glad I'm still here with you all. I have so much to learn about being a person. I don't really feel like an alien, even though I know some people here communicate with aliens. I'm not looking, that's... I feel very human, but I've learned certain things really well, and some things I've just begun to scratch the surface of. And I find that exciting now. I'm okay to be a beginner. I'm okay to learn as I go. I appreciate how much we're all learning right now. And I don't think it's too late to learn. My hope is that we might use this space to spark a different part of ourselves to come on. Like fireflies. I think each of us has so much depth, so much feeling, so much creative potential. But as we live, sometimes we get the experience of a tunnel narrowing. We grow to be certain about who we are, what kind of person we are, what we have to do, who we have to be. And I think that's normal and fine. And I think there are alternatives. We can turn on different parts of ourselves, spark different parts. If we're always bothered, it might be a relief to spark on parts that can bring us peace and contentment. If we're generally okay, but resistant to being bothered, maybe allowing ourselves to be bothered and care for situations outside of our usual way of experiencing life might be a breakthrough. I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all for any of us. But being curious about what we want to explore might be a fun thing. Fun is one of those words I find certain people are suspicious about. I remember saying to a colleague before they were about to lead service, "Have fun." He looked at me like I had two heads and said, "Is this supposed to be fun?" No. But it could be. Why not? Sometimes I've convinced myself without really realizing it that things have to be a certain way. And I've learned that certainty has limited the potential of what could be here. Yes, It's possible to have fun. It's possible to be bothered too at the same time. There are all these colors to experience. Not just the obvious primary colors, but the gradations, the ways colors mix and create something new, something we've never felt before maybe. One thing I've come to rely on during any journey, whether it be on foot, car, or plane, is finding a body of water. It doesn't have to be very big, though the ocean is great, or a big lake, but it doesn't have to be much. A tiny stream will do the trick. A tributary that spills into a river. There's something about witnessing the movement of water that reminds me that I'm moving too. I'm being moved along, even if it looks like I'm standing still. And that movement comforts me. It shows me a way. And it gives me a sense that it's actually impossible to be lost. Impossible. I'm finding my way through a crag of rock or under a branch, but there's something pushing me and pulling me forward at the same time. In certain circles, that's called a calling. But we don't need to use that word this morning. I think it's just enough to realize that we are finding our way through whatever situation is in front of us, and that we can trust where we are with that. Some of my favorite times have been sitting by the side of a river, feeling the sun, and contemplating what it might be like to dip a toe in, to wonder. The anticipation of that is very sweet. We're along for a ride, and we don't completely understand it. But I trust we're finding our way through. Please pray with me. Spirit of love and humidity, thank you for these summer days. Thank you for Leandra, who is a wonderful presence with us this morning. Thank you for Tracy McQuillan for bringing forth her love of the environment and the ways we can live in tune with it. Thank you for our wonderful bassist, Andy Crabb. Yeah? Give him a little applause in prayer, why not? Thank you to Eric Ramos, moving violinist. Cynthia Smotzer, just wonderful flute. And Tom Smotzer, our cat on the keys. And Tim Raridan, how could we forget? Never Tim Raridan. Oh my God. Thank you for everyone who's made this flow possible. All this we pray in gratitude. Amen. And rise and body your spirit for our closing hymn. I know this is a favorite of yours, Tim's. It's 1007.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we keep in our hearts until we meet again.
As you depart, please take in the sounds of the world, the wonderful food waiting for you, the coffee waiting, and the laughter. And please remember the one great fact: you are loved. And never truly alone.